The last time we saw someone dance on Wednesday, it went so viral that even Lady Gaga herself decided to join the show. This time around, we have another gala, and it's Enid and a surprise guest who give us a fantastic performance, which makes me wonder if we're getting something sapphic next season. On the other hand, things are getting more intense with Francoise and Isaac, and Morticia has finally come to regret her decision. At the same time, I was wondering why this morning song thing was so important, and it finally becomes clear in this episode of the show, where we get a little bit of history and why it's so important to Wednesday. However, it's my least favorite subplot of the show so far. With that said though, let's jump straight into episode 7. Wednesday episode 7 begins with a flashback to 15 years ago, where we see a young Dort in a Hawaiian shirt, luring Gideon to join his cult. Well, not exactly join it. Dort plans on creating a community for outcasts, but he knows for sure that his mug isn't going to get anybody to join up, so he decides to use an actor, who played a character called Gideon in a medical TV show. Hence, he has the name Gideon, and he's become the face of Morning Song, a name that Dort picked on a whim. At the time, Bianca's mother was a siren that Dort was controlling. The show flash-forwards to the present day, where Bianca is with her mom, and Principal Dort catches them. Bianca tries to explain this situation, but Dort tells her that her mom and he go way back. This is when she learns that Dort is Morning Song, and he basically traps her into working for him now. Orloff's death is but a tiny glitch for Dort, who wants to go ahead with the gala, and Bianca has to be the one to secure the donation because she's got the persuasive powers, as we know. At the same time, Wednesday learns, with some help from Agnes, that her father and Isaac used to be roommates. Gomez tells her that Isaac used to be his closest friend, but we'll get to that a bit later. Wednesday also tells her mother that the premonition has changed, which means an Adams must die. She suggests Pugsley. On the other hand, Bruno tells Enid that he's broken up with his girlfriend back in the Philippines. He says they were on a break, but he fell for Enid, and so he wants to give that a try now. They're going to go to the dance together, but as friends. Meanwhile, Capri, the adult werewolf that's giving Enid all the advice she needs, tells her that alphas become the prey of other werewolves if they turn on the night of a full moon. She also reveals that if an alpha turns during the full moon, they'll never turn back. But she suggests taking support from her pack and following the rules so everything will be okay. When Wednesday comes to see Enid in the cages, the latter tells her to find her if she turns, and that Wednesday is her pack. On the other hand, Dort is trying to get Wednesday's grandma to join Nevermore, and shows her the design of a new building, which will be dedicated to her and her craft. It's a ruse to get her to donate all her money to the school, but obviously, that means Morning Song really. When they tell the family about this, Morticia is appalled by the idea, especially because Hester says that anybody without an outcast ability shouldn't be enrolled in the school, i.e. anybody like Gomez. Morticia tells her mother that being an outcast is a state of mind, and anybody can feel it. Wednesday also doesn't appreciate what her grandma said about her father and doesn't support the idea either. Later, Wednesday tries to find out what Dort is after through Bianca. The latter tells her everything, but she then uses her abilities to erase the memory of the conversation. However, Wednesday already knew she would do that, so she asked Agnes to come along in invisible form to tell her what had happened. Agnes tells her everything about Bianca's mom and Dort. However, the real big deal here is that Agnes is dressed exactly like Wednesday, and the latter hates it. Agnes talks about replacing Enid now that the premonition has changed, but Wednesday dismisses her, saying she's not doing herself any good by stealing from her wardrobe. Yikes. On the other hand, Gideon's been eager to get his share of the pay for Morning Song all these years later. He comes to Nevermore to talk to Dort, and Dort pretends he's going to give him the money before he sets him aflame right there in front of Bianca and gets rid of his bones in the fireplace. The poor man missed the gala too. It's finally time for the gala, and Wednesday has the perfect plan to ruin Dort's schemes and save Bianca's mom, as well as her own grandma, from being swindled out of all of her money, of course. Before Enid's grand performance, she finds Bruno's girlfriend has come to visit him, and Enid says she's not going to get in the way of things. Nicely ties this plotline up because I can see Enid and Agnes becoming a thing next season. Enid learns about Agnes' sadness and essentially tells her to be herself. The duo have more in common than they think, but Enid is also missing a dance partner, only to learn that Agnes has learned all her moves. The plan is set into motion. Enid and Agnes give a fantastic performance, which makes Dort overjoyed. The advantage is that the latter can turn invisible whenever she likes, which includes when the girls are doing fancy lifts, which makes Enid look like she's flying, and also when she has to steal the necklace that Dort uses to control Bianca and give it to Wednesday. This frees Bianca, and at the same time, Ajax rescues her mom from Dort's room too. So finally, after that exhilarating performance, when Bianca invites Dort for his speech, she makes him confess everything about Morning Song and her mom to the crowd. He goes a bit nuts and threatens to kill Bianca, shooting a flame onto the massive chandelier on the ceiling above them. At the end of Wednesday episode 7, Ajax finally uses his Medusa hair for good and distracts Dort, who immediately turns to stone, allowing Bianca to escape. But unfortunately Dort set himself up for doom, because the chandelier crashes down onto him, breaking his stone body into tiny pieces. So yes, Principal Dort is dead, Morning Song is done for, and all seems well, except it isn't because Isaac, Francoise, and Tyler are still around. Isaac lures Pugsley out because the young boy thinks they're friends, and then kidnaps him because he's looking for revenge.